Hello, and welcome to episode number 111 of the Photographing the West podcast. I'm your host, Kirby Flanagan, and I'm a nature and wildlife photographer. Please join me in my adventures in Southern Oregon photographing birds in the Klamath Basin National Wildlife Refuge. This time we made reservations at the Waterwheel RV Park, a delightful small campground right on the Williamson River. I had plans to kayak the Williamson River. What I hadn't planned on was another year of drought in Oregon. The Williamson River was so shallow that in places you could wade across it without getting the tops of your shoes wet. On to Plan B, which was to drive the Lower Klamath National Wildlife Refuge and the Tule Lake National Wildlife Refuge in search of birds to photograph. The two refuges are normally major stopover points in the Pacific Flyway, and in good years are host to millions of migratory birds, including tundra swans by the hundreds and snow geese by the thousands. The snow geese are restless and frequently blast off for reasons known only to them, circle around, and then land in exactly the same spot. Sometimes these blast-offs are a result of an overflight by a bald eagle or hawk. 2021 was not a good year. The Lower Klamath Refuge was largely bone dry, except for a small area in the northwest corner well known for its resident bald eagle nest. This small stretch of road did not disappoint. The bald eagles were there, along with a couple of red-tailed hawks. Unfortunately, the trees had leafed out and were backlit, making high-quality photos impossible. On to Tule Lake Refuge, a few miles down Hill Road. Much to my surprise, the southern shore was covered by mudflats containing hundreds of white-faced ibises, busily drilling the mud for lunch. While I'm familiar with white-faced ibises with their long, downward curving bills, white face, and iridescent red-green bodies, I had never seen them in such profusion. And I had never gotten any photos of them I was proud of. Hundreds of shots later, with my Nikon D500 and 500mm f4 lens, I had a few that I liked. Success. Driving down to the auto route, a frequently bumpy gravel road, I had more opportunities with ibis feeding, flying, and just looking beautiful. A bonus was multiple flocks of American white pelicans, a bird I love. Kind of ugly, but cute at rest. They are beautiful in flight, usually in small groups of 10 or more in a single file. Fairly tolerant of photographers, I added to my collection of pelican photos. Another bonus was several uncommonly beautiful common terns. These elegant-looking black-capped white birds hang on the wind searching for food before diving headfirst to retrieve a meal or a snack. A common sight along the auto route is bald eagles, usually seen on top of poles placed for them along the road. Frequently shy, they often take flight before in range of a long lens, but sometimes they'll sit for a portrait. Another bucket list stop in my plan was Putnam Point in Klamath Falls, well known for its dancing grebes. Before dancing, the birds give a rather raucous call to attract a mate, then swim and dive together before rising on their webbed feet to dance or rush. A pair of grebes will stand in the water and rush or dance across the water for 10 or so seconds in an exaggerated upright posture. Common in this area are 2 of the 7 species of grebes: Clark's grebes, named after William Clark of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and western grebes with their namesake black mask in the Zorro and Lone Ranger tradition. Both have similar mating calls and mating rituals. A final stop in the area is Petroglyph Point, a nesting location for cliff swallows and various raptors. Always a crapshoot for me, as the birds return to their nests 30 to 60 minutes before sunset and rapidly enter their nests in the rock face. Occasionally I've gotten lucky here, as seen in these photos. Without considering the memorial Day weekend, I had made reservations at Waterwheel RV Park only until the Thursday before the Memorial Day weekend. We had had so much fun up to this point that we decided to extend our visit. We were able to get reservations at Lake of the Woods National Forest starting Monday of Labor Day weekend, but had nowhere to stay Friday, Saturday, or Sundays. After multiple frantic calls, we were finally able to secure the last spot at the Wild Goose Lodge Motel in the small town of Merrill, Oregon, just north of the California border. This is an extremely small campground with only about 7 sites that are part of a 50-style motel that is well maintained. Jeff, the new owner, was exceptionally friendly and helpful. Backing into the small site with full hookups was a challenge with our nearly 50-foot rig, but after multiple tries, I made it. This site was in close proximity to the previously mentioned wildlife refuges, affording us an additional opportunity to observe and photograph birds on the Tule Lake Refuge and at Petroglyph Point. No new species were discovered, but it was a wonderful way to spend the holiday weekend. On Monday, we moved to the Lake of the Woods National Forest Campground. With our Golden Age pass, this was a very economical place to stay. The genial and helpful campground hosts helped us to change our campsite as our original site was too tight for our long rig. The trailer is only about 25 feet and a fifth wheel, but the Ford Crew Cab 4x4 pickup is another 20 feet and has a very large turning radius. Fortunately, we were able to move to a pull-through site that afforded some shade, but also enough sun to keep our solar panels charging as we were dry camping. We were within walking distance of the lakeshore, which proved to be beautiful, and the resort site with a good Lakeview restaurant and a small general store. Birds in the area were in short supply, but the view from the lake toward Mount McLaughlin was spectacular. Part of my motivation for staying here was to search for great gray owls, which are well known to live in the area. But as in past efforts, I was totally unsuccessful. I also took the opportunity to explore nearby Hyatt Lake, which was almost totally and disappointingly dry. Next, I explored several small lakes and county parks that were nearby for possible campsites and birding opportunities. These locations proved to be more accessible to small RVs or tent campers. I also explored the west shore of Upper Klamath Lake National Wildlife Refuge and Agency Lake for campsites and bird photography opportunities. My wife and I have traveled enough to know that even incredibly detailed planning does not go as planned. The secret, in my opinion, is to be flexible and take advantage of opportunities as they present themselves, even if not in the plans. This was certainly the case for this trip. High points were the rushing grebes, the ibises, and the pelicans. Low points were the low lake and river levels and dry lake beds. In between were many enjoyable days spent outdoors in beautiful country. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed my adventures in the Klamath Basin. Tune in July 30th and August 15th for episodes on wildlife videography. Bye for now, and we'll talk then.